Hello guys and welcome back to another video on our new What If Shane killed Rick in The Walking Dead. So let's get into this What If series. In this universe, the group would still be looking for Randall and they still don't know that Shane killed him by snapping his neck. And Shane and Glenn and Rick and Daryl still split up, which Daryl and Glenn go and Shane and Rick go. And Shane still takes Rick to the field. And Shane tells Rick one of them's making it out of here, and that's going to be him. Not you, Rick. You're not worthy of leading this group. And then Shane tells Rick he's better for Lori than him. And Shane tells Rick he's a better father than him. And then Shane looks at Rick and he tells him to raise his damn gun. And Shane's not playing around here. He doesn't care on what Rick is going to do. He is going to kill him if he tries killing him. He's not afraid anymore. And Rick and Shane have a face-off. And when Rick gets too close to Shane, instead of Rick killing Shane, in this universe, Shane would stab Rick in the heart, killing him. But then Carl comes and he sees this and he's afraid, and he'd start running back to the farm, and he makes it back to the group. And then Shane just accepts it, and he says, this is all just gonna go downhill now. And he looks behind him, and he sees the season 2 Walker horde coming. And Shane sees it's done for him, and Carl is gonna tell the group on what he did to Rick. But then we see Glenn and Daryl, who are back at the farm, and they tell the group about Randall and how his neck's broken and there were no bite marks on him, and they suspect that Shane might have just killed him. And Rick and Shane, they haven't heard a word from them, so it's either Shane killed Randall and now he's gonna do something with Rick and take him away somewhere, or it's someone else. But then Carl tells the group that he went outside and he saw Shane kill Rick by shooting him. And that's not the only thing he saw. He saw a massive horde of walkers. And then outside they hear screams. And when they look and when the group head outside, they see Patricia being eaten alive by walkers. And she just gets ripped apart. Basically, there's no saving her at all. And I mean at all. And then Jimmy starts shooting some of the walkers. And Jimmy tells the group that he'll get in Dale's RV and he can drive off and try to lead the horde away. And we see Shane, who's on top of the barn. And it's slowly burning after he just threw something that's flammable, I'm pretty sure there. Just ignore how much fire is there in this picture, because I couldn't find an actual picture with full up, just not that much flames of the barn. But then Jimmy pulls up beside the barn with Dale's RV after he saw Shane there, and he's trying to save Shane as he's on the roof of the barn. And Shane jumps on and he makes it out alive. And then he jumps off the RV and starts shooting some walkers. But then he'd see some blood splatter inside the RV. And then he hears screaming. And those screams are familiar. And those are the screams of Jimmy, who's getting eaten alive by the walkers. And Jimmy cries in pain and he yells for Shane to help him or do something. And then Jimmy slowly dies, as Shane just leaves him there to die. And slowly Daryl and Glenn try to get everybody that's remaining on the farm out of here. And they manage to do it pretty successfully. And the group meet up back at the highway. And then they see a familiar face there along with them. It's Shane. And the group asked him about Rick, and he just makes up excuses like Rick got bit and he told me to leave him. And he said he'd hold off the walkers. And Beth tells Shane that they're not stupid and they're not believing some fantasy story you came up with. as she knows what you're capable of. And she knows that Shane can easily kill Rick if he wanted to at any point, because Rick wouldn't ever be expecting it. A gunshot goes off, and it's from Shane's gun after Beth angered him. And Shane shoots Beth in the head, killing her, and Beth's body falls to the ground helplessly. Shane tells the group, "You want to see that again?" But then Herschel shoots Shane in the elbow, and Shane starts bleeding. But then Shane stabs Herschel in the head and runs off. But poor Herschel is killed in this attack. And now this small group contains of Daryl, Carl, Glenn, T-Dog, Carol, Lori, and Maggie. And this is the smallest group I've ever had in any of my What If series. So, yeah, this is a pretty small group. But then a few months later, we see Merle, Milton, and the governor, who just saved these 5 people at a prison named Tomas, Andrew, Big Tiny, Axel, and Oscar. And while they're going back, this is about the time when Daryl and Rick find the prison, but this time it's just Daryl, and instead this time of it just being Daryl, it's the entire group. And they pass by and meet the governor, Milton, and Merle. And Merle and Daryl meet each other again, finally, and they reunite. And the Dixon brothers are back, and Merle tells Daryl that they have a community back led by the governor, and you and your group, they can all stay there, and they can be a happy old family. And the governor's okay with this because it's Merle's brother, and he's been looking for him ever since he saved Merle. So, yeah, he's happy for Merle, and he's okay with the group staying at Woodbury. And for anybody wondering what Woodbury is, it's the community name. And after that, the scene shifts to Andrea and Michonne. And they're in the forest looking for supplies or anything that they can find. But they don't find any supplies or anything or any animals that they can hunt down and eat. But instead, they find someone. It's Shane that they run into. And Shane knows that Andrea was a part of that. She decided against him. Even though she wasn't there, she would have. Shane tells them both that they're not getting out of here alive because they're interrupting him. And Shane tells them that he needs the supplies more than them. He's damn near starving. So Shane points up his gun at them and he tells them to empty their bags and give him the supplies or he'll shoot them and they'll be up in hell. And Andrea and Michonne, they don't think so. And then we know how crazy Shane is in this universe, and he ends up shooting Andrea and Michonne over and over. And Shane kills them. And Shane's showing no mercy to anybody that gets in his way of survival. And Shane knows that. And he will do whatever it takes to live.